On? Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Football Safe Space, presented to you by the Fantasy Shot Callers with Streamlabs. I'm 7 o'clock. I'm accompanied with my brother from another mother, Brother Fox. How you holding up?
Hey, I'm well, brother. Ready to kick off another episode.
And the man that needs no introduction, the king of the South, a.k.a. Fantasy Football Big Guy. How you doing?
The King, you know what I'm saying? Hey, the King is in the house. I said, hey, blessed and highly favored as always. Just thankful to chop it over two of my best friends, man. Let's get it, man. Talk about this division that we all love to hate. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it.
The NFC least. The NFC least.
Yeah.
Brother Fox, before we get started, how can the good folks take care of us?
As always, y'all can give us the HBO special. If you don't know what the HBO special is, it's the Help a Brother Out special. So help some brothers out. Hit that like button, subscribe. It truly goes a long way.
It truly, truly does. For those that are new to the show, Safe Space is catered to those who want to vent, cry, and drink their fantasy sorrows away. Since we're not in the regular season, we're giving you guys breakdowns. We're giving you guys tips so that you guys don't have to come to Safe Space. Not that you're not welcome, but hopefully you don't have to come here. This week we are tackling the NFC East. Without further ado, Big E, who you got? Where are we going?
Where we going? Let me see. Let's get the tight ends out the way.
Knock it out.
Let's knock the tight ends out. And for me, I said, obviously, I don't know, it don't have to be, unanimous, but I think Dallas Goedert is the number one tight end for me. I think he produces, but he doesn't produce where you want to really have him. I mean, he's like one of those last guys that you draft at the end of the tight end run. You kind of don't want to be stuck with. I like Dallas Goedert. I think he's supposed to, perform, but he's 29 now. And I think if he was supposed to break out, he would have broke out. It's a lot of mouths to feed in Philly. And so I definitely like Dallas Goedert. I wouldn't mind seeing him on my team, but I'm not relying on him to lead my team to victory, even though he might have a touchdown or two on any given week.
I feel you. What you got, Brother Fox?
Yeah, I don't have Dallas Goedert as the tight end one from the division, but to speak on Goedert, he's a talented kid. If you can't get one of those top 5 tight ends, he's someone that you don't mind having on your team. As we mentioned in previous shows, he is a blue tent boy.
Yes, sir.
He absolutely will miss a few games. So it's like he has an early bye week. There's a good chance he'll probably be hurt before the bye, and then he'll probably be hurt again later in the season. So you're going to need a secondary tight end if you draft someone like Dallas Goedert. And to what Big E said, there's only one football to go around. And now you have a running back who's going to take a high amount of carries and catches out the backfield, and 2 elite receivers.
Yeah.
How much really is there for Dallas Goedert?
No doubt. Not to mention somebody knocked his block off in the club. Y'all remember that? Y'all saw the video. Don't act like y'all didn't see it. YouTube it if you did.
Who you got, Brother Fox?
My tight end one is Jake Ferguson. And it's mainly just because the system that he's in, and B, who his quarterback is. The Cowboys have always been very heavy on tight end receptions, especially on third and fourth down. Dak Prescott uses them as a blanket across the middle. You could look at the tight end that's now playing in Houston, and as well as Jake Ferguson is similar production. The Cowboys threw the football a lot last year, enough that like somebody else we're going to mention, CeeDee Lamb, put up magnificent numbers, and Jake Ferguson was there to clean up. So I feel truly he's the tight end one for this division, because Dallas Goedert there's too much talent on the offensive end for Dallas Goedert to really have that true tight end one production.
I feel it. I don't like anybody from this division for the record.
True.
But since we have to do an all team and we have to pick someone, the lesser of the 4 evils is Jake Ferguson. Just for the reasons you mentioned, it's a little bit more footballs to go around to him. He's got a better pocket passer quarterback. They have a more passing regulated offense. They really don't have a running game. You know, we don't know what the running game's gonna look like in Dallas.
True.
Versus Saquon Barkley got breaded, and he's gonna eat. So by default, I'll give it to Jake Ferguson, and we can just skip on to and get to next. What you got, Brother Fox? Unless you had something, Big E. My bad to cut you off, brother, but this
position. I didn't know if it was going to go to the next tight end. I mean, I was just going to say the same thing for me, and I threw it out there. Was Jake Ferguson. And I'm just saying that just because, like you said, you know, the lesser of the four evils, I love it, 7. But at the same time, for some reason, I just feel better seeing Goddard there than Ferguson. Not to say that it's
name recognition.
Name recognition. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. I just feel better just looking at my team, seeing Goddard there than Ferguson. And I'm just being honest. It really don't matter because to me, all of them suck in this division. But go ahead.
That's funny. I had the exact same thing I was feeling on this end. I guess let's jump over to wide receiver.
Let's do it.
I think the wide receiver 1 for this division is pretty clear. CeeDee Lamb, he finished as wide receiver 1 in fantasy football last year. Had 135 catches, 1,749 yards receiving, and 12 tubs. You know, he pushed Dak Prescott to lead the league in touchdowns. You know, he is a top 3 pick this year in fantasy football. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I feel like you could – he's entering his prime. This is technically a contract year for him, even though he has that 5th-year umbrella. The Cowboys have not paid him, and it sounds like they don't plan on paying him. So, you know, he's going to ball out. You know, and after – it's rare that you get somebody going back-to-back, especially at the wide receiver 1 position. But I feel him and Dak, because they're making them prove it this year, I could see similar production. I feel like he's going to have a hell of a year, and he continues to grow within this offense. And, you know, he is a top-tier caliber wide receiver in the NFL.
What you got, King of the South?
Oh, I love it, man. I'm with you all the way. I don't think anybody can argue with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is the best player, you know, the best wide receiver at this time. It kind of hurts my heart because I was arguing whether to draft Henry Ruggs or CeeDee Lamb, me and some of the fellows, and I guess we see who won that battle. You know what I'm saying? So CeeDee Lamb, he had me when he yanked the phone from his female at the draft. He had my heart then. You know what I'm saying? So that brother is killing it. You know what I'm saying? Dak doesn't have many weapons. You know, I mean, he has enough, but CD is the number 1 automatically. And like you said, they didn't pay him. He's going to get paid, and he's going to get passes. So I wouldn't feel comfortable still drafting him. I know people are going to draft him in the top, 5. I hope I'm not in the top 5, so I don't have to draft him. But I don't want to draft a Cowboy with my top picks. I'm different like that. But CD is a beast. He is a beast. So you can't go wrong with him.
My only thing is being as – I'm sorry to cut you off, 7. I'll be super quick. I was just going to say, like, my only thing about CeeDee Lamb is that being as – there's a good chance he's going to hold out, and he may hold out into training camp. He might suffer from, like, soft tissue injuries early in the season. You know, when the player has to come back from not playing and injuries like that early in the season, it's kind of hard to bounce back. And especially being as he won't be in camp and won't get in football shape, there's a good chance he could suffer one of those injuries early. You know, I look at Travis Kelce last year. You know, he ended up having a soft tissue injury and did not look like himself. So I hope CD and the Cowboys can figure it out, or that he pulls a chase from the Bengals and just shows up to camp without the contract. That way he can get in football shape and be able to contribute this year.
I feel it. In the chat, we got Kevin Core, aka Piggy, our special guest next week. What's up, fam? What up, baby? How you? Hopefully doing well. We got Albert, our legendary 4th member.
sir.
Hello.
Albert.
What's up?
What it do?
Piggy says Jake isn't a sexy pick, but productive, and Cowboys didn't bring competition for targets. True.
Facts.
True. Dak was on fire in the season. Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say before I was rudely cut off. You know, Dak hit a stride that back half. What do they call that in golf? The back nine.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
No Diddy. They hit a stride, and if they can continue and pick up where they left off, it's actually scary what the numbers could look like. So hopefully he doesn't have soft tissue. Brother Fox hit it right on the net, hit the hammer right on the nail. It happens a lot more often than people realize. If he holds out too long and Tyreek is in camp, I'll elevate Tyreek to number 2 over Lamb. And depending on how long it lasts, I might go Amon-Ra. And CD is a dog. No one's doubting that he's a dog, but the best ability is availability.
No doubt about it. Plus, they got rid of the boil. I hate to say that was on the ass of the Cowboys, which was Gallup. Gallup, he had to go. Gallup, that was the blue tent boy of the century, man. That just stayed here. You know what I'm saying? Michael Gallup, that's just crazy, man. Finally, they got rid of him. That's even more targets. And the Raiders got him. My God.
That's what I was about to say. Didn't he go to the Raiders?
I was laughing at my homeboy. I'm like, y'all okay? But I said, man, Gallup 8. I remember I was doing security. I was like, Gallup 8 off y'all. And next thing you know, it came over on my phone. And I was like, man, look, he's like, you just made it. Nah, dog. We picked Gallup up. Now we gonna pay him.
Big E, who you got for number wide receiver 2 in the division?
Okay, wide receiver 2. This pains me. This pains me a little bit. I don't like A.J. Brown. Now, Piggy, I know Piggy going to be on there. He kind of probably like A.J. Brown. And, I mean, I had him on my dynasty team. I traded him away. I got a haul, you know. But I'm just not to say he didn't shine, and he shined last year. He did great. But in some games, it's like you said, there's so many mouths to feed that you're going to have different people. You're going to have, a few, different games. Then you got to do Saquon Barkley in the mix. I just don't like drafting A.J. Brown where he's going, which is in the first round. When you have other wide receivers that could produce just, as good as him. He's a blue tent boy slightly now. He done got a little bit better. But he still gets hurt from time to time. But it's just that, I don't know, man. It's something about A.J. Brown. Sometimes I hold my breath when I see him make catches. You know, he falls hard. He's a big guy and he falls hard. So I think that's why he gets injured. You know what I'm saying? He's injury prone. But I went with him. I got an asterisk beside it. But you know what I'm saying? I got another guy. But I'll let y'all go ahead and tell me who you got.
What you got, Brother Fox?
I got A.J. Brown as well. He did play all 17 games for a second straight season. He did miss the playoff game because he had a knee injury at the end of that 17th game. His numbers were very productive. You know, he had 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns. His numbers were more impeded by Jalen Hurts, running in the red zone, running for first downs, and Jalen Hurts just in general having a bad season. But like you said, in earlier episodes, I actually said he was one of the players that I wanted to avoid, and the reason why was for how far he's going up in the draft. Saquon Barkley is going to take a significant amount of carries, as well as significant amount of catches out the backfield. I get it. A.J. Brown's been paid, and then they're going to go through a transition. They have a new offensive coordinator and new defensive coordinator this year. Kellen Moore, coming over from the Chargers, he has a very diverse offensive system. He does run the ball quite a bit, but he does air the ball out. So we really don't know how they're even going to use him or how long it's even going to take all the Eagles to adjust to the new packages and new system that he's going to be facing. I feel like out of everyone in that offense, he's the one who's going to take a dip for Saquon's numbers to increase.
It's hard to deny him as wide receiver 2.
Right.
But, you guys, obviously, we all are well aware. He powder blue. He cut ugly powder blue. got hurt at the end of the season. You know, if you drafted him, at least he got hurt in the last game of the year. But dude is talented. He almost is a lock for 1,000 yards even when he gets hurt. Hurts has regressed. I don't know what he has in store. AJ Brown is someone who I've never mocked, and I've probably done 100 mocks through Fantasy Pros Draft Wizard. He's someone who I can't bring myself. I'd rather take Garrett Wilson, or I'd rather take Puka at that turn. The other two receivers who are going in that area, but I can't bring myself to draft AJ Brown. But I don't have anything against him. It's just something, like you said, Big E. It's just something about him that says no. Like, you know better.
Yes, and like
they're safer picks,
and
smarter picks.
And I say I don't have nothing against them, but I guess I really do. I don't want him on my team. I don't want the man. He powder blue. Like I said, Tar Heel, Carolina blue. You know, I'm repping over here. So I say, let's call it what it is. And I mean, I'm waiting for that at AB gene to kick in. You know what I'm saying? Antonio Brown, you know, they got that can. I'm waiting for it to kick in. You know, he wanted the money, he got the bag. So it's time for that to kick in. And he's starting to, show his tail a little bit. So I don't know. He produced 1,400 yards. You can't knock him. But I guess
at what point in a fantasy draft would you guys feel comfortable taking AJ Brown?
That's a turn.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm the second pick of the turn. If I got 12, I want to at least get him in the second round. Gotcha. Even though I know it don't matter, either or.
He got to slide 6, 7, 8 spots for me. Like, I can't take him at 9. There's no way I'm drafting him at 9.
No.
I can't justify it. Not at 9. But now if I get Bijan at 9 and he's there on the turn, okay, now we cooking. But I need a little bit more reassurance from my first overall pick. Even at 12, I just can't do 9. That's where I draw the line.
No diddy.
Who's up? Was it Brother Fox? No, Big E. Where are we going? Running back, quarterback?
Hey, I think it's Brother Fox, but I said, hey, go ahead, Brother Fox. I'm gonna let Brother Fox say that. I got the last one. Brother Fox,
my bad.
The RB1 is pretty obvious for this division. Saquon Barkley. Finally his roller coaster career of being with the Giants is over. I think the man, I think he had 40 something carries last year that he was hit behind the backfield before he got to the line of scrimmage. It's ridiculous. He's taken over for Swift, who had 29 carries last year. So you got to think like that. That's a nice pot of runs, especially with that offensive line. He's gonna have a top 5 offensive line for the first time of his career. He's not. The expectation isn't going to be for him to carry the team, but we know that he can. There's going to be those games that Saquon is he's gonna propel you to blow somebody out because he's gonna put up 2-3 touchdowns and run for 150 yards and catch a few even out the backfield. I feel like if in most drafts he's falling into early second round. So he could be a game changer on most teams, and I feel like he's coming into just a phenomenal situation with the most talent he's ever had around him. And with the Kellen Moore offense, I guess it's still, we don't know exactly how much he's going to get the football, but hey, he's playing for that big contract. He hasn't really been paid.
Great take. We got a question real quick. How many TDs does Hurts take away from Barkley?
I'd say at least 8.
3 to 4?
I say closer to 8.
I said 8.
Oh.
Yeah. I think
Does
so.
Barkley have double-digit touchdowns this year?
Barkley double-digit touchdowns?
10? What's the line?
I say 7, and I say he gets.
I would say 8.
I say he's going to get a few stolen by Hurts himself for sure.
No doubt about it.
Yeah,
I'm on the same thing though. Saquon is the number one, running back. The whole time he's wearing the right jersey. I'm glad they haven't changed it to a Philadelphia jersey because he is captain of the blue tent. You know what I'm saying? Hurt every year, and he's gonna be hurt this year. He's on my do not draft list again. Not only this, he's a great player, great talent. We have all seen the highlights. It was at Penn State and when he shined with the Giants, but he stays hurt. And I mean that's just the main reason. He stays hurt. He can do it all, but I mean he's always every time he gets up, he's gimpy. He's going to the blue tent. They checking him out, and he's falling for a reason. I remember a couple of years ago, nobody would even go near Barkley. And I know we remember that, and I don't think we were hesitant to go near Barkley. But going with how many miles it is to feed as well, plus with Hurt still in the touchdowns, it would be different if he was going to be handing them off every time. But he liable to get hurt then, So I mean, I just don't want Saquon on my team, but he is the number one, and somebody's going to pay a pretty penny for him. Now, if he falls, I will take him.
Where are you comfortable taking him, Big E?
Man, and it ain't gonna fall that far, so that's why I know I'd be good. It'd be like middle second, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, if it's mid second, I would take him easily mid second.
I doubt he get much farther than the turn.
Right.
But again, if he does land mid second, that's a steal.
Says I lead the Barkley hate with 7. Laugh out loud. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe that's a great question for the streets. Who you guys got as number 2?
That was the difficult hardest questions. Yeah. Because like every other running back in this division, as Big E would say, is mud. They dirt. They trash. And so it's hard to figure because like the one who's probably going to get the most carries, probably Ezekiel, but I don't believe in Ezekiel.
No.
Who you got?
Brian Robinson Jr. He's probably talent-wise the second best running back in the division. I would say hesitantly Brian Robinson Jr. I would not draft him. He would be a stash on my bench, but I still feel like he's the second best RB from this division.
Yeah, that's like you said. Hey, it's a tough one, man. It's a riddle like in a
Brian Robinson.
I took the wrong one. My bad. I saw Brian and Jr. My little
dyslexia. Right. Brian Robinson. And I struggled with this one. This is when a bead of sweat came off as I was trying to write it on the paper. And I said, Brian Robinson Jr. is the guy. I mean, although I am concerned with Eckler being in the house. I mean, I know Eckler, he lost a step, obviously. You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe 2 steps, but he still can catch the ball. I can see Eckler having a few big games, this year, outshining Brian Robinson easily. But I just think that after Saquon, it really gets slim pickings. I mean, you got Zeke, 100 years old. My man right here, he came from Alabama. And I love this game in Alabama. I just think that they didn't have the quarterback play. And I think with Jaden Daniels stepping in, I think you're going to see a boost for Scary Terry, who is the slash on my paper with the wide receivers. But I think that Robinson is going to gain too, but he's going to lose some touchdowns, obviously, from the rushing quarterback. So
Jaden Daniels definitely still some.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's really tough. It's really tough. So, I mean, it's kind of give and take with both running backs. The quarterback is going to steal some of the touches and some of the touchdowns. So, I go second with him. I agree with you, Fox.
It's
break the tie, baby.
I went with Devin Singletary.
Woo!
And it's difficult to sell any of these guys, to be honest with you. I think he's just going to have the best opportunity because I don't even know if Ezekiel is going to get 200 touches. I think it's going to be more of a 50-50 split. It's not going to be like when it was him and Pollard, in my opinion. He's older. He's long in the tooth and older. Robinson Jr. and Eckler, they're going to split carries. It's just Singletary, but that offensive line is so putrid. Daniel Jones ain't scaring nobody. I just look at who's going to get the opportunity, and that's the only reason why I went with him. I'm not a big fan, although, truth be told, second half of the season, he was number 2 in rushing behind Christian McCaffrey. But that was Houston, and that's when teams couldn't stack 8 in the box with Tank Dell and Nico Collins and C.J. Stroud. This is a whole different ball game. But with that said, someone got to get the carry. Somebody got to get the touches. So I'm only going with him purely because he's going to get the touches. I see him getting more touches than Zeke and more touches than Junior.
A take like that grinds my gears, and it grinds it for reasons that we had earlier from previous shows. That was my exact point about Zach Moss being with the Bengals. I'm like, hey, this man is finally given an opportunity. He's going to get the carry share. He's finally going to be able to put up some numbers.
He's not getting the
y'all
carry
scoffed at it. Y'all, whoa. He trash.
I did.
He blah, blah,
Yes.
blah.
What about
Devin
Chase Brown?
Singletary is trash.
I
That
still
nigga's
say.
poop. Dirt. Look at his number. RB30. Come on. Son.
What about Chase Brown, though?
Yeah, Chase. Okay, Chase Brown is going to get some third down carries. But you think Devin Singletary is actually going to be the starting running back for the entire year?
He did it
Who
better.
else they got, Brother Fox?
He did it better.
I
He did
couldn't
it better than
name
Zach
him, but I
Moss.
guarantee you somebody else.
Hey, we know Chase Brown, but we don't know his backup.
Right. Well, it's Tyrone Tracy, whatever, that rookie. But, I mean, he just got drafted. He ain't going to get no PT. You know that rookie love. You know how they do. But like I said, man, Zach Moss is trash, man. Devin Singletary, he did at least do it last year at the end, not at the beginning when a running back was on holding out for money. And then all of a sudden he boosted stats up real nice because AR-15 was still in the game. He only played 2 games. 7 got him as a top quarterback. I'm dogging you out too, 7. And then next thing you know what I'm saying, he fell off. He fell off a cliff. Devin Singletary continued to do it. I would take Devin Singletary over Moss. That might need to be the question.
And that's why me and you constantly make the playoffs and Brother Fox don't.
See,
All right.
Right. Fox, man, come on, get your wins up. I ain't even hating on you.
I get wins in real life. Right?
Man, me too.
I get them
Hey, it's a
fantasy
fantasy
wins.
show, all right? Quarterback, where are we going? I feel like it's only 2 options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let Biggie go first.
Yeah.
Now it's tough. I got Jalen Hurts as my number 1. I got
Okay.
Jalen Hurts as my number 1, and the reason being, I hate, Hurts was like, he lost in the Super Bowl. He lost in the Super Bowl. Everybody was like, Pat hugging him all on his nuts. You already know Brother Fox saying that he's, the incumbent, and he's just as good as he is. Not so much as he's just as good, but he's a great quarterback. Jalen Hurts starts off the year doing, awesome last year, and then he falls off a cliff, and then everybody's like, oh, he's regressed into something terrible. You flip that, you look at Jordan Love, he started complete duty, then had the bye week, came back and only threw like 1 interception, but he was trash in the championship game, and that ain't saying he's like the top-notch quarterback. He's the future of the NFL, and I think he's trash. I like Jalen Hurts better. I like Jalen Hurts, and I know I went on a little tangent right there, but Jalen Hurts is that guy. I really think that he's going to do it with the rushing, with all the weapons. How can he not do it? He's done it without the weapons, So, I mean, if you give him weapons, I think that he's going to do it. Now, did he fall off a little bit? Yes, he does, you know what I'm saying? And he does have some question marks, but I think he's the number 1. I honestly think he's the number 1 for this division. You go ahead, Brother Fox.
With Jalen Hurts, I question what kind of production we're going to see from him. And the reason why I say that is only because last year coming into the offseason, they lost their starting their offensive and defensive coordinator. It was a complete turnover. And with their old offensive coordinator went to the Colts, and you've seen what he did with Gardner Minshew as well as with Anthony Richardson, right? Both of them played, I feel, above their caliber.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts struggled. It makes me think of, is Jalen Hurts more of a Russell Wilson? Is he one of those people that in the right situation with the right coaching, they put him in a situation where he can be immensely successful? Or is he the kind of person where he can just put the team on his back and actually show the talent around him? Think about Jalen Hurts' situation. He's had a top 5 offensive line since he's been in the National Football League. He's had pretty solid running backs. He's had 2 elite receivers and a top 10 tight end. And yet, other than the 1 year, he really hasn't had tremendous production. You take any of the other top tier quarterbacks and put him in that situation, I feel they would already have multiple championships, So I look at it as like
Cooking.
I look at it like, sure, Kellen Moore is going to be taking over that offense. Kellen Moore likes to air it out. And I don't know if that's going to fit to the strengths of Jalen Hurts. You know, Jalen Hurts they need somebody like Ben Johnson from the Lions who will lead with the run-first offense to use that play action to be able to push the ball down the field. I feel Jalen Hurts is going to have a solid year, but if you're thinking what he was 2 years ago going to the Super Bowl, that he's going to replicate that, I think you're sadly mistaken.
Were you thinking that Jalen Hurts can't throw the ball? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think it's okay. There's a difference between a coordinator who puts his players in a position to win and versus a coordinator that just relies on the talent. I'll give you an example. Josh Allen in Buffalo. They're not necessarily putting the correct pieces around him for him to be successful. So he has to play superhero ball for them to be successful. Whereas look at Jared Goff. Jared Goff was, when he was in with the Rams, he was so bad that they traded him, pretty much threw him in a deal just to get Matt Stafford. And now with the right offensive coordinator playing to his style of football, he's able to be immensely successful. He threw for, I think he had 31 touchdowns and 12 interceptions last year. You know, so it's all about the scheme and that, not every player is elite and can truly put the team on their back. And I feel like Jalen Hurts showed that last year. He's not that cat. He's immensely talented, but there's a reason why a guy who can't even throw it down the field like Tua Tagovailoa took his position in college. You know, like he has inefficiencies to his game. And, like I think that it is what it is, but he's one of those players. I feel like, okay, he's a more mobile Brock Purdy. I feel like he's good at the mid-range, he's good at the short-range stuff, the deep stuff. I don't see it. And I don't think that he's the caliber of player that we thought he was 2 years ago.
Man, y'all killing Hurts, man. Golly, dog. I ain't got nothing to say.
I like Brock Purdy. I don't like that comparison, but I thought that was a good take, Brother Fox.
It was.
Piggy said Dak QB1 because what's bigger motivator than money? He needs his new contract for his new team next year. True. I mean, that's what Brother Fox is always preaching, chase the money, People always, but Dak has also gotten breaded before. I'm curious, Dak at 59 and Hurts was what? I saw him at 23. I feel like Jalen Hurts will finish higher than Dak, even with him and Saquon battling. But I'll take QB4 at 59 or 50, whatever, where Dak is, instead of that second, third round tender for the QB2.
I feel like with Dak Prescott,
everyone
it's a what have you done for me lately league. And I feel like last time we saw Dak Prescott, he struggled out there and threw all those interceptions against the Packers.
Tampa.
So it's a lasting image that has been burned in our head, saying that man, Dak is trash. Dak is trash. But at the same time, like Dak should have won MVP. With the numbers that he had, he should have won MVP. The only reason why Lamar Jackson won MVP was because his team had a higher win percentage and that they were the 1 seed. If you look like Action Jackson barely threw for 3,500 yards. He didn't even have over 30 touchdowns. So it's like his numbers were honestly not that great. And hell, last year we all talked about how I wanted to throw hands with Lamar because there were games that he was garbage.
Oh, no.
Dak Prescott came out last year, led the NFL in passing yards, led the NFL in touchdowns. His offensive line was up and down all season with injuries and this and that, and yet he still put up a fantastic season. He struggled in the playoffs, and there's a lot of quarterbacks that struggle in the playoffs. He may not be a closer, but he sure as hell is a good regular season quarterback. And I feel if you can get him for what he's going in fantasy pro drafts, you're getting a person who finished QB4 last year in what, like the 7th, 8th round?
6th, 7th round. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'd hop, skip, and jump to draft Dak Prescott there.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, top 5 potential, and you don't have to spend a top 5 round pick on him.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. But I do agree with that. Like I said, I think that most of our bias, and I think it's on Jalen Hurts too, is what have you done for me lately? And I think that Dak always sucks in the playoffs. He ain't going to hoist the trophy. I'm sorry, Dallas fans. He's not going to hoist the trophy. But at the same time, during the regular season, he is a great value. I mean, him and CD were connected last year, and it was crazy. So, I mean, it's like, if you're going to draft somebody, I would much rather get Dak at the lower rounds than, later rounds anyway, than to get Jalen Hurts at what'd you say, 23? That's crazy to me. So I definitely would like the value. And like I said, quarterback 4, you can't beat that.
Yeah. Like you got to think too, like Dak's game has been dissected so much by the media because he's the Cowboys quarterback. The media almost makes you hate the Cowboys just because of how much media attention they get. Mm-hmm. But Dak had a wonderful season last year with other than CeeDee Lamb, weapons that were pretty questionable. With a Tony Pollard that didn't show up but got a lot of carries. So it's I feel that everyone's seeing that Green Bay game in their head and envisioning them just getting destroyed by the Niners during the regular season and not really knowing like, hey, he was a quality quarterback all last season.
For sure. Brother Fox, before we get out of here, how can the good folks take care of us?
As always, y'all can give us the HBO special. If you don't know what the HBO special is, it's the Help a Brother Out special. So help some brothers out. Hit that like button, subscribe. It truly, truly goes a long way. That
concludes another episode of Fantasy Football Safe Space presented to you by the Fantasy Shot Callers with Streamlabs. Next week, the King of the South will be absent, but in his place, we will have the brother Piggy, aka the Hog, the Hog Father.
The Hog Father.
We will be covering his Dolphins in the AFC East, so should be a great show. We look forward to seeing you guys 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. See you guys next week.
Go Chiefs.
A-Chain